Hello!
Ahoy!
Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Bottom of the Stream.
Welcome.
I am Adam.
I'm Nick.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm good.
Good. What are we doing? What's Bottom of the Stream? Tell people.
We are a podcast where we will watch many films.
Many films.
One a week.
Yep.
On Netflix. And we are looking for those hidden gems that are sitting somewhere at the bottom of the stream.
Yes, it's an endless quest, and every week we try and find one, and most weeks we don't. But some weeks we do. So,
hey, the good ones are really good.
and the bad ones are really bad. Got any gossip, news, stories, comments? Anything you want to talk about before we get going?
I just wanted to mention first up that if you haven't checked it out, or if you weren't aware, we were fortunate enough to be guests on Grief Burrito last week.
We were indeed, our favourite podcast.
So go and check that out if you've not had the chance.
Much fun. Talking about some crazy, mysterious Russian incident.
The Dyatlov Pass.
That's the one. It was good. It was interesting, I thought. I was kind of been thinking about it on and off all week since.
I learned a lot. It creeped me out quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it was good fun.
That sounds like how you would describe Grief Burrito.
Yeah.
Fun, educational, and creepy. Good. Anything else happened to you this week?
I don't think.
No, I haven't
think
got
I've had quite an average, in real life, quite a boring week, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I got almost attacked by a pigeon yesterday.
Oh, always good.
So
Why almost?
I was in my bedroom,
Right.
just about to draw the curtains after getting home from work so I
Okay.
could get changed.
Yep.
And this pigeon just flew straight at me and just
Brilliant.
launched itself into the window
Excellent.
in my face. So I nearly fell over because your instincts is to get out of the way even though you know there's glass there. But it seemed to survive. I went downstairs and checked and it wasn't on the floor anywhere. So I imagine it woke up with a headache this morning.
It skulked off somewhere.
Yeah.
They do that all the time now.
They're just
Stun
such
themselves.
stupid animals, aren't they?
Yeah, we had one at work the other week, and it was just sat on top of the hedge. It clearly just brained itself.
Yeah.
There was like a smear on the window.
It was like it was coming straight for me.
Yeah.
It was fucking things. I don't like pigeons. Shall we start with the top of the stream stuff this week?
Let's do that. What have you watched?
I have watched a few things this week. Where should I start? I finished Criminal.
Oh, yes.
So I've done all 7 episodes of that now.
Did the rest of it live up to the...
Certainly did.
start?
It was really good.
Good.
The last one is Raj from The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's really good.
Okay.
Really, really good. He's really good in it. So yeah, I finished that. I'd definitely recommend that. I might even watch the foreign ones because there's a Spanish, German and French series,
Okay.
I think, as well. So I might even go for them. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Give it a go.
Do you want to take this in turns or do you want me to do all mine and then you do all yours?
Let's go in turns.
Okay, your turn.
I'm still watching Misfits.
Oh yeah? How are you getting on with that?
Everyone's started to leave now, so it's gone a bit shit.
What, you in like season 3? 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, all the people who became famous have obviously gone off to be in Game of Thrones or other things.
That's exactly what happened.
The Irish guy who is in Umbrella Academy.
Robert
Klaus. Yeah. They've all left.
Yeah.
So it's not as good.
So do you think you'll see it through to the end? Or?
Probably because I'm that sort of person.
Yeah, you're a completionist.
But not at pace.
Yeah.
I would have said.
We'll come back at the start of next season.
Yeah.
Like, I've just done the finale of Misfit. My turn?
Yes, that's how this works. We just had that conversation.
Jungle.
Oh, yeah.
I watched Jungle with Daniel Radcliffe on Saturday night.
I hear it's massive.
What, the Jungle? Or Daniel Radcliffe?
No, Jungle. Jungle is massive.
Daniel Radcliffe's not. He's like a little tiny
Yeah,
dwarf
yeah.
of a man. It's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
It's about. It's a true story.
I have seen the trailer. It did look interesting.
It was on our list for a little while, but I think it was a bit too famous, maybe.
Right.
But yeah, it's good. It's a true story about an Israeli guy who gets lost in a jungle.
Sure.
Daniel Radcliffe plays an Israeli guy, which I thought was a strange casting choice, but he plays it really well, and it's really good. And
I mean, generally,
lots of fun.
I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
But I quite rate him in all the other stuff I've seen.
Yeah, he is pretty good, to be fair. He's not like groundbreaking,
Yeah.
but he just. Do you think he will always look like a child? Because even now, he still looks like a child. Even in that film,
Yeah, he probably needs another 10 years.
the amount of weight he must have lost for the end. The ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks really like malnourished.
I will check that out as well.
Yeah, check it out, Jungle. It's really good. It's on Netflix. It's awesome.
I have watched, I don't know, we've mentioned this the last couple of weeks, but I'm a bit behind everyone else. I have watched Slaughterhouse Rules.
Oh, that was Ross's recommendation
Yep.
on his episode a couple of weeks ago.
It was fun.
Yeah,
I
enjoyed it.
I wasn't as high on Michael Sheen as you two were.
I think you've got to be like a Michael Sheen fan.
But yeah, it was a really fun, dumb monster
stupid
monster movie.
Did Simon
Killer
Pegg and Nick
Moles.
Frost have any scenes together?
One.
One, they
Yeah.
did. I couldn't remember if they did or not. So I was wrong last week when I said that. Next, I've been watching Ratched.
Oh yes,
Ratched.
I'm
Go on.
really intrigued to see what you think because I've heard very mixed things. So like the people who like it really like it,
Yeah.
and then I've seen some quite stinging reviews.
I'm enjoying it overall. There
Okay.
are some episodes are better than others. In true Ryan Murphy fashion, it is all style,
Right.
but there is substance there. Sarah Paulson completely rescues it. If it wasn't for her,
Well, yeah, it's very much a vehicle for her. Isn't it?
100%. She's in pretty. I would imagine she's in every scene.
Okay.
But it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful looking show, and the story's good.
Okay.
The story's interesting. It's well worth checking out. I've still got 2 left to go, so
Right,
I've
okay.
finished it.
Fair.
I thought I said to you yesterday, I think I'll finish it by the time, but I had 3, not 2, so I did 1 last
Got
time.
ya.
But no, it's good. It's well worth checking out. If you're into Ryan Murphy shows, they're all a similar style, aren't they? Hollywood was the same.
Yeah, I mean,
American Horror Story. I didn't like American Horror Story.
so I've never watched that. I watched the crime story ones, and I like both of them.
I've only seen the O.J. Simpson one. I've never seen
The other one's on
Versace
Netflix.
one. Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I think most of his stuff's on Netflix.
Oh yeah. He's just churns stuff out.
He does.
At a ridiculous rate.
But no, it's good. It's made me want to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest again.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do that at some point. I'm
Awesome.
surprised that hasn't appeared on Netflix.
Yeah, but
unless somebody must own the rights to it.
Yeah, but it's hanging around somewhere.
Some streaming service must have it.
It'll be somewhere.
Yeah. But no, check it out.
Other streaming services are
If you're into
available.
Ryan Murphy shows, it's very much in that style.
Okay.
So if you like American Horror Story, Hollywood, things like that, you're going to like it. I wouldn't really compare it to Glee, but that was like his starting project, wasn't it?
Got his foot in the door, didn't it?
True.
And look at him now.
Look at the cast of Glee now.
Oh,
Or not. As you can't.
No, I'm not digging them up.
Stop being controversial.
Sorry.
We had some tweets about that last week.
Did we? Sorry. It's all right. Don't worry.
That's good. I'm not. I'm fine. Go. It's your next one.
Talking of cars that go fast.
Yeah. Were we?
Well, Princess Diana.
You've done it again.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've watched one episode of Formula One Drive to Survive,
Oh, yeah.
which is the behind the scenes documentary
Okay.
of last Formula One season. I watched season 2, episode 4
Why?
because someone I know is in it.
Oh, okay.
So
Who? Somebody I know in it.
my wife's uncle
Oh, really?
works for a Formula One team, and
I didn't know that.
he is in. He's in the episode, just like in the background,
Oh, that's
like
cool.
as they're doing like a big team meeting.
When you said it, I didn't think you were much into Formula One.
No, I'm not.
So you
It's
just
not
watched
a
it just
sport,
to see
it's
somebody you'd know on Netflix.
Well, I got a tip off that he was. Yeah, he said, "Oh, I'm in this."
Was it
Check it
any
out.
good?
It was quite interesting.
Are you going to watch any more?
No,
No.
he's not in anymore. So
Fair enough. I've got one last thing.
okay.
I watched American Murder, The Family Next Door.
Oh, sure.
Which
Yeah, I've
is
seen
the-
this. Seen about this.
Big Netflix documentary,
Yeah.
true crime documentary that's out there at the minute. It's a really hard watch. It's really quite harrowing. I don't want to give any spoilers away for it, but there's a reason why. It's a really hard watch.
Okay.
And yeah, it's on for an hour and a half. It's a feature-length
Oh, it's a
documentary.
proper movie.
It's a proper, and it twists and turns constantly. From the very beginning, you're like, okay, that's weird. Oh, that's weirder. And then it just goes for 90 minutes.
Cool.
That's a crazy story. And apparently there's quite a lot left out.
Tough, but you recommend? You're
Highly
recommending
recommended. If you're into true crime, you're going to love it. But it is, when it all comes out, it is a really tough thing to sit through and watch. But yeah, I'd recommend. I can see why it's been a number 1 on Netflix for
Okay.
weeks now.
Awesome.
Yeah, check it out.
I've watched one more thing,
Good, I'm finished, so that's worked out quite nicely.
and again, I'm well behind the times
Go on.
because it's not a new thing.
Okay.
I've watched, I think, 4 or 5 episodes of Toast of London.
Oh, I've seen a couple of those.
Oh, just brilliant. Well, I've never watched this
I
before.
don't know. I watched 2 or 3 and then I never went back to it after
Yeah,
that.
but it's
there
all
was-
on Netflix now.
Yeah, I know. That's where I watched it. It wasn't even that long ago.
And it's really funny.
It's Matt Berry, isn't
Yeah,
it? You've
and-
got to be really into his sort of humour. to
Yeah,
get it,
it's
but-
it's stupid.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I will watch more. I just don't know what. Something must have came along that distracted me from it.
So we're sitting there watching it with my wife,
Yeah.
and I'm just chuckling all the way through, and she's
Just not doing
stone-faced.
anything. That's how I describe your wife. That's not true. For anybody who knows her, I know she doesn't listen, but people do tell her stuff.
Okay.
Cool.
That's me done.
We're
That's
done.
all I've watched.
That's all we've watched. Good. Have you got any Netflix news?
Yes.
Good. What have you got?
What should we start with? Let's start with something I have watched the first series of is The Alienist.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's
I've seen the
on
first episode.
network TV in the States, and it is distributed by Netflix over here. Season 2 arrives on the 22nd of October.
It seems a long time since season 1.
Yes, I think it is.
It seems like ages ago since I watched that.
Yeah, so this...
Because we had a guy who'd been in it in the first season.
Oh, right, okay.
He was in, what was that creepy, dreamy, weird one? Bottom of the World.
Yes.
There was a guy in that who was in, I remember talking about it, he was in The Alienist.
Oh, okay.
So
that was early on.
Over a year ago. Well over a year ago.
Yeah.
Since we did that film. So I bet it's 2 years since the first season.
Yeah, it could well be.
That's
so
interesting.
it's Luke Evans, it's a murder crime, but it's a period piece, isn't it, in sort of early America.
Yeah. I was going to say Victorian America, but that isn't a thing that exists. That sort of time period.
Yeah, so I'll check that out when
me too. I enjoyed
that
the
is
first
released.
season of that. Cool. Are we taking it in turns on news as well?
I presume so.
I've got quite a few bits actually. So Cobra Kai, let's do that one.
Oh, yes.
Have I stolen one of yours?
No.
I've got some Cobra Kai news.
Awesome.
Season 3's coming.
Yes.
January the 8th.
Brilliant.
It's not even that long away.
No, it's not.
I don't know how they've managed to record it or film it.
They must have had a lot in the can already.
Do you reckon? Before Netflix brought it?
Well, yeah, but we don't know...
When Netflix brought it.
Yeah, comparatively to when that was actually announced, we don't know how long they'd given them the thumbs up, do we?
But no, it's coming. There's a trailer out there as well.
Yeah, and they've already commissioned season 4.
And they have indeed. It's the biggest show in the world right now. Yeah. Everybody's talking about it. And for good reason, because it's brilliant. Yeah. And it is it's better than any other TV show that's airing at the minute.
I mean, it's really good timing as well, because it is, we've talked about it before, it is melodramatic. It is very soapy at parts, but it works the nostalgia really well. And it's
just light-hearted fun, which is what this year needed.
It is fun, yeah.
But yeah, completely. It's the best show on TV currently. There isn't a better TV show in production at the minute, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had such a great time watching those recently.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, the season 3 is coming on January the 8th.
I'd literally just got home last week after we recorded, and then that was open Twitter, and that was there. Why does this always happen?
It does happen a lot. So we might be a little bit behind on that news, but we do our best.
I have something exciting.
Go on.
Probably my favourite not scripted TV show is coming back.
Okay.
Somebody Feed Phil.
No way.
It's coming back to Netflix.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On the 30th of October.
Oh, that's really soon.
Yeah.
I'm off that week as well. The week after that. I've got a week off work. I'll just binge it.
So I think it's 5 episodes. Yeah.
Excellent timing. That's just what we need.
That is just a warm hug of a TV program.
That might be my favourite thing documentary-wise I've seen on Netflix since we started. I love Somebody Feed Phil. I wonder where he's going to go. Oh, I'm excited. That's good times. My turn. Beyond the Mat. You know what Beyond the Mat is?
Yeah, I do. I watched it years ago. It's another documentary.
It's a wrestling documentary from 1999.
Yeah, I've probably not seen it since then.
No, it has been a long time. I actually own it on VHS.
Oh, really?
So that's how old it is. That's come to Netflix this week out of nowhere. Nobody really knew it was coming. It just appeared. If you're into wrestling and you've not seen it, then watch it. If you're not into wrestling and you've got a slight interest, then watch it, because it really does explain the crazy world of professional wrestling.
I think it was quite,
and I bet it still holds up.
It was. I think it was quite a big influence on the movie that ended up becoming The Wrestler.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it is a portion of it follows around that sort of on his last legs.
Yeah, he
was doing this for 30 years.
That character was really based on Jake the Snake Roberts from Beyond the Mat, so that makes a lot of sense. But no, check it out, honestly. Even if you've only got a passing interest, it's a really interesting documentary. Your turn.
Something is available on Netflix now, which I am definitely going to try and check out this weekend, because it has had some good hype and some good early reviews, and that is a movie called Vampires vs. the Bronx.
I've seen the trailer for this a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
It looks interesting.
It's got some very good early reactions, and it is available now on Netflix.
It is available now. I saw it earlier.
So I am going to check that out.
Me too. Something I didn't even know was coming, but it does look quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. Shall we? I'll watch it. We'll watch it. We'll watch it before the next episode.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Cool. You got any more?
Yes. Are we going out of order? I've got one more.
I've got one more.
Okay.
So it's my turn, isn't it?
Yes.
Haunting of Bly Manor's coming.
Okay.
Come.
It's
come. For us, as in the real world time now, it comes tomorrow.
Oh, right, okay.
But for the people who are listening to this, it came out on Friday.
Oh, I forgot all these time travel shenanigans.
Time travelling. It comes out on Friday the 9th of October, so if that's passed for you, you are able to watch it. That is Mike Flanagan's follow-up to The Haunting of Hill House. It looks really good. It looks better. I don't think either of us really got into The Haunting of Hill House.
No.
But this Bly Manor one looks really good. I'm really excited for it, so I'm going to check it out.
I mean, what could go wrong? It's about creepy little ghost girls.
Yeah, exactly. What could go wrong? Obviously, now we have to get to the main news headlines for this week. Bong. Do you want to do it, or do you want me to do it?
You do it.
Glow's been cancelled.
I know.
It's devastating news.
Yeah.
Bloody COVID has fucked us over with the ending of Glow.
Yeah.
So it was commissioned for season 4. They started filming it. They had one episode in the bag, apparently.
Well, I read today they had more than what they had. They were closing in on finishing episode 2.
Really?
When everything shut down.
That's such a shame. And now they're not coming back. I presume it's a contract thing.
Oh, well, so there's a bit more to this from what I've heard. So the official line is there are safety concerns having people being that close.
Yeah, which is
sweating and breathing all over each other.
Even though real wrestling has not shut down.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a very interesting comparison. But I guess logistically, having a big cast.
It has got a big cast, that's a good point.
Getting them all back together when they may have already signed up for other stuff.
That you can't keep people under contract indefinitely, especially in the final season. It's a shame. It's just bad timing.
So it may have just been too difficult a hurdle to overcome.
Yeah, that's a real shame.
Yeah, because it was going to be the last season.
It was, yeah.
Now, Mark Maron has already sort of started a bit of maybe we could do a movie instead, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a crying shame. That show deserves to tell its ending. And
all 3 of those series are excellent.
Perfect. Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. If you've not checked out Glow, there's no reason for you not to.
I mean, considering there's a whole season there written, like you say, it's partly recorded,
partly filmed. They're paying out the rest of the cast and crew's contract as well. So
sure,
that's a crying shame. When I read that news the other day, I was genuinely gutted about it. That show's so good, and it really does deserve.
It's the most gutting cancellation since Santa Clarita Diet.
Oh, that was devastating as well. That's such a good show. Why that ever got cancelled?
That's one of my favourite Netflix shows of all time.
Yeah, agreed. If you've not checked out the Santa Clarita Diet, do it.
Please
do it.
It
doesn't have an ending, but the ending that it does have kind of works, I guess.
Ish.
It's a bit of a cliffhanger, but yeah, I'd have loved it brilliant.
Well, I did a bit of reading, sort of prompted by the Glow news.
Okay.
And obviously, not for any fault of its own, it is now not going to make it to a 4th season.
Yeah.
So, if you were to guess, how many scripted, not kind documentaries, how many scripted Netflix original series have made it to a 4th season? So this does not include stuff they've bought. So Cobra Kai wouldn't count because they bought 2 series.
Stuff they've commissioned and made from scratch.
Start to finish.
Not a lot, I wouldn't have thought.
Out of however many hundreds of originals they've made.
Are we what do you want the answer in? Percentage or
a number? How many shows have made it to a 4th season?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
The history of Netflix.
I'm sure there has been some, but I can't think of any.
Would you like to know?
Yes, please.
11.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy, isn't it?
Can you throw any at me?
I'm just trying to think if I can. My mind has gone completely blank, and I can't even think of a Netflix TV show now.
Would you like me to tell you what they are?
Yes.
So, Orange is the New Black.
Oh, of course, yeah.
7 seasons.
Great seasons, apart from one of them, which is terrible.
That's the most.
That's the most?
Yeah.
7's the most Netflix have ever done. Okay, that's interesting.
BoJack Horseman.
Oh, of course, yeah.
6 seasons.
Another good show.
Grace and Frankie. 6 seasons.
Don't know that.
That is a sitcom starring Jane Fonda and...
Yeah, I do know it.
Someone else.
Yeah.
And Martin Sheen's in it as well.
Yeah, I think he is.
That's had 6 seasons.
Okay.
House of Cards.
Obviously. That would have kept going forever, I think. Had Kevin Spacey not been what he is.
Yes.
You looked at me with fear in your eyes, like, what is he going to say?
I know, it was my turn to be apprehensive. Fuller House.
I've heard of that, I've not seen it.
Yeah, I didn't realise that it had 5 seasons.
No, not me, that's crazy.
13 Reasons Why. We're into the 4s now.
Yeah, that had 4. One of my favourite shows.
Something I've never heard of, F is for Family.
That's a cartoon.
Yes.
Animated show.
Yeah.
I think I've seen one of them.
It's Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Bill Burr Baggins.
Another one I never heard of, The Greenhouse Academy.
I've never heard of that either.
No.
That sounds like a documentary about Alan Titchmarsh.
4 seasons.
Cool.
The Ranch.
No, never heard of it.
That is a sitcom with Sam Elliott and Ashton Kutcher.
No, I have not heard of it. Sam Elliott and Ashton Kutcher. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking of one with Aaron Paul in it, but that's something different. And then it's on Amazon as well.
So there's 2 left.
Will I be able to guess them?
One of them you will. I would be surprised if you've heard of the other one.
One of them. How many seasons has the other one had?
4, and you've watched them all.
I've watched all 4 of them.
Yes.
Why is my brain just dead? Give me a clue. Is it a drama? Is it a sitcom?
It's got possibly the best theme song of all time.
Oh, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Correct.
Of course. I didn't realise that was a Netflix original.
Yeah, apparently so. 4 seasons. And the other one is a sitcom called Alexa and Katie.
No, never.
Which I think might be more of a teen thing.
I think we might mention that in the top 10 once.
Yeah, possibly.
The name's familiar.
So there's a couple upcoming, which we'll get to season 4. So The Crown.
Yeah, of course.
Ozark.
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But that is it. That is your list. It is not many, considering.
It's not, is it really, when you think about it?
Yeah.
When you think how many... Do we know how many Netflix TV series there have been?
I mean, I did find a huge list, but I wasn't going to count them all up.
I can imagine there's a lot. That's interesting, though, isn't it? It's really interesting.
Yeah. I mean...
You wouldn't have thought Orange is the New Black would be the longest running, either.
It was one of the first, though. It was like the anchor in the early years, wasn't it?
It was probably... House of Cards was first, I think. And then after that, I think probably Orange is the New Black probably was.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I thought that was really surprising. So yeah, I struggled to get past season 3 for most things.
Interesting.
There you go.
Yeah, that's really good. Good research. Well done.
Thanks.
No problem. We got anything else to talk about, or should we move on with this week's film?
I think I am ready to talk about this movie.
Are you?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ross, and what's the crack?
And I'm Rob, and this is our podcast, I Understood That Reference.
We cover all corners of the pop culture spectrum, including movies, comics, which is my favourite, games, and everything in between.
With our own unique mix of games, trivia, a little insight, all wrapped up in Irish accents.
And of course, the tin whistle.
So get up them stairs and download this podcast into your ears.
I'm Ross.
And I'm Rob.
And this has been I Understood That Reference. Available on Spotify, SoundCloud, Podchaser, and wherever else decent podcasts are available.
Yay!
Okay, let's talk about Malevolent. I have not opened my notes, as always.
I am also not in the right place in my book.
Okay, this week we're talking about Malevolent, which is a horror film from 2018. It is a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 29 minutes. Currently rated at 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb and is a Netflix original. Stars a lady called Florence Pugh. Pugh.
I would say Pugh.
I've written Flopo in my notes because that's what we referred to her as when she got her Oscar nomination last year.
We did.
She got an Oscar nomination for Little Women. She plays a character called Angela in this film. If you don't know her from Little Women, you'll probably know her from Fighting With My Family.
Oh, of course, yeah. I forgot about that.
Which was the wrestling film where she played Paige. She's also in Midsommar, which was the horror film that I've decided now not to watch. Because I didn't like Hereditary very much. And I don't comment about this one as yet. Also stars a guy called Ben Lloyd-Hughes, who plays her brother, who is known as Jackson. You'll know him from the Divergent Insurgent movies from a few years ago.
Yeah, I've not seen any of
I've
these.
seen the first one, but I haven't seen any of the others. This film also stars a British institution, I'm going to call her. Do you agree with that?
I mean...
TV-wise? Film-wise?
Yeah, certainly TV-wise. She's been on our screens for decades.
Forever, yeah. This is Celia Imrie. She plays a character called Mrs. Green. You will know her if you've seen The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Yep.
Both of them. She's also in Nanny McPhee. She's in the Mamma Mia films. She's in all of the Bridget Jones films. She's in every British TV show that's ever been made.
Yeah.
She was in everything that Victoria Wood ever made.
Oh, okay.
So like Dinner Ladies, all that sort of thing. What was the antiques shop one that she did? Acorn Antiques.
Yeah.
She was in all them. If you're British and you've got a TV, you know who she is.
Yeah, you'll recognise her.
Directed by a guy called Olaf de Fleur Johannesson.
Great name.
Great name. This film appears to have ended his career, though, because he has not made or is not making anything since this film came out.
Come on, it's only 2 years old. It takes a long time to make a film.
Yeah, but he's not even got anything in production, according to IMDb. So that's your cast and crew. Have you got a one-word review?
Scottish.
No, I want to take issue with that.
Right.
This film is set in Scotland.
Yes.
Most of the characters in it are not Scottish.
Mrs. Green is Scottish.
Mrs. Green is the only one.
Angela's half Scottish.
It doesn't count.
She's got a grandpa who's Scottish.
There's not.
He's
What
Scottish.
I'm saying is, this is a Scottish film with not many Scottish accents in it.
That's true.
Even Celia Imrie's Scottish accent wasn't great. We're not going to lie.
No, it wasn't.
But
I want to use Scottish because I'm part Scottish, so we're going with it.
okay, fair enough. You can have
suck
it.
it.
It was in my notes. Suck what?
The Scots.
Oh no. It was in my notes just to mention that about it being Scottish, so that's quite interesting that you should bring that up so early. Where does this film start, Nicholas?
We've got a quote.
We have.
A bit of writing on the screen.
Yeah.
And it says, "None of the dead come back, but some stay."
Yeah.
And the quote is attributed to St. John the Divine.
Yeah. So, biblical, I guess.
One would presume.
Yeah.
So I am not up on my biblical knowledge. I
Have you
do
not read the
apologise.
Bible this year?
No.
The film cuts from there to some people who are packing up a car. So we've got Angela and Jackson and Elliot and Beth,
Yes.
who are our main cast in this film.
So they're putting a load of kit in the car, aren't they?
Like they're
Like roadies.
film crew.
Yeah.
It comes up on the screen then. Glasgow, 1986. In big blue letters.
Oh, did it? I missed that. Because I've written 1980 as question mark.
No, it was 1986.
Oh,
There
there
was
you go.
massive, great big blue letters.
I
filled
must
up
have
the
been
screen.
writing.
Must have been. So yeah, this film's set in Glasgow in 1986, and they're off to somebody's house. They meet up when they get there. They meet up with a man and a little girl,
Yes.
and they inform this little girl that they're going to send her mum back to heaven,
Yeah.
which was an interesting way of putting it.
They're ghost hunters, man.
They're ghost hunters, or
Yeah, they hunt them
Spirit.
and then they like
tell them to leave.
yeah
basically.
cleanse them.
It's a bit like-
They use the word cleanse quite a lot, don't they?
Do you remember Ghost Team?
Yeah.
It's very similar vibes.
Have you read the newsletter this month?
Yeah, of course I have.
That's
was there.
Ghost Team is the flashback.
It was, yeah. Yeah, check out Nick's newsletter if you're a Patreon, and if you're not, become one. So they ask this guy some questions about his wife and his history and what's going on in his house, basically. Basically, he's reported to them that he's got a ghost in his house and he wants rid.
Yeah, he wants his dead wife out of there.
Yeah, get rid. So they ask her some questions. Angela is the one with the talent, in inverted commas.
Yeah, she's the medium.
Yeah. So she heads downstairs with a cameraman who we find out is called Elliot.
Yep, he's the tech guy.
Yeah. And the other two, Jackson and Beth, stay upstairs with the bloke who owns the house.
Yeah, so they set up
And they're watching on some monitors.
Yeah,
aren't
set up some monitors in his living room, don't they? And they've got a feed.
they? Yeah.
to
That
the
amount of
camera.
technology would have cost a lot of money in 1986.
Yeah, but it's kind of explained, isn't it? Because they're all university
Yeah.
students, so they say, "Oh, we've just got it on loan
Just
for the
nicked it,
weekend."
basically.
Yeah,
Like in See You Yesterday.
yeah, exactly.
All these films come together, don't they? So they head downstairs, they start filming, she starts talking into the basement, I guess. Not expecting anything to happen. There's loads of mannequins around because it's a horror film and they're the scariest thing in the world. And that's a horror film cliche. Do you think mannequins by now?
Yeah,
Pretty much, isn't
absolutely.
it? And she starts calling out this lady's name who she's looking for. That's when we find out at this point that it's a con and that
Yeah,
none of
they're-
it's real.
They're scammers.
The cameraman starts playing sound effects from his Walkman. And so it sounds like on the cameras that something's happening, but it's not.
Yeah, and it's ghostly voices, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Jackson is explaining to the mark that they've got that Angela's gift, it doesn't extend to seeing ghosts; it's an auditory gift.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Very convenient. Why they have to have a cameraman then? Who knows?
Quite.
And then the ghost, in inverted commas, leaves. So basically they stop the tape playing and Angela's like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah, and Jackson says to the guy, "Oh, it is like that." He's like, "Oh, yeah, she's gone now. She won't be back."
It's sorted.
Yeah,
Job done.
can I have my money,
Can I have my
please?
money, please? So while they're packing up, Angela goes for a little walk around and she catches the eye of one of the mannequins and it moves as she looks at it. So she kind of looks away and then looks back again and it lunges at her,
Yeah,
basically. So she falls over.
good scare, I thought.
Yeah, it was a lot like
Got
that
me.
pigeon yesterday. So she falls over. Yeah, it got me. It made me jump. And as soon as she hits the deck, the film cuts to the title card.
Yeah.
Which is also in big blue letters just comes up Malevolent.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw it that time, did you? Go from there, straight from the title card to a club.
Yeah, we're toasting our success
Yes.
as ghost hunters / scammers.
Yeah. So they're in a club doing shots, as you do. It didn't feel like a very 80s club.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's like
Did you want more neon?
clubs were not like that in the 80s. Like
Their fashion wasn't very 80s, was it?
No.
It was a weird design to this film at times.
There was no reason for it to be set in the 80s either.
Well, I think there is. I think the 80s thing was to sort of put to bed the question of, well, why haven't you just got a mobile phone and you call for help?
I think a lot of horror films get away with that, don't they? A lot of horror films do that.
But then they didn't go, you're right, they didn't go full on, and it wasn't obvious that it was in the 80s.
Other than that,
there was no technology.
Yeah, it could have easily been in the 90s.
Yeah.
Or the early 2000s. While they're in the club, Jackson decides he gets them all together, says he wants to do this full time. He wants to be his calling. And Angela confides in Elliot that she thinks she's been set up with this mannequin. She's like,
who rigged it?
Who rigged it? What was the joke? And Elliot's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
I kind of got the impression, although it wasn't really teased out to any degree, that she's looking to get out.
Yeah, she wasn't keen on doing it.
So she doesn't want this to be her vocation going forward. She's kind of like Danny Glover, isn't she? Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, shall I do one last job?
One last job.
Yeah.
So she goes home after that. She's had enough of the night out. So, and when she gets home, she's going through this like box of paperwork.
Yes.
With like photos and stuff in. Is this the point where we find out about the mother, or is that later?
This is where we get the first hint. So she's reading a letter from a psychiatric institute.
Yeah.
And I believe it's written to her granddad.
Yes.
And it basically says, this lady is now under our care.
Yeah.
Which, we glean as her mother.
Yes, we get a photo as well, don't we? She wakes up the next morning, the phone's ringing. She's a bit hungover. Everybody else is asleep, so she goes down to grab the phone.
Yep.
And instead of a job coming in, there's a lady on the phone who wants... You can't hear what this lady's saying, which is really annoying.
No.
Because you could hear like...
It was like in Popeye.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. But you could hear what Angela was saying, so it was like, there's no reason for me not to be able to hear the other side of this conversation. But anyway, she turns the job down. She's like, no, we're too busy. We're fully booked. Sorry, and puts the phone down. And then she heads off to college for...
Yeah, meanwhile, there's a weird bit with Jackson just in the mirror. And this is another reason you notice in the 80s, because he's got a Walkman with massive headphones, like with foam buds.
Yeah, I used to have one.
And he's listening to self-help tapes quite a few times through this movie. It just made me think of like the episodes of Friends where like Chandler becomes a strong, confident woman.
We've started referencing Friends quite a lot in the last few weeks. I like it. So there's a throwaway scene now where Angela just heads to her psychology class. And the tutor's saying to her, look, you've not been coming in enough. You need to concentrate more. You're just going to fail otherwise. Basically get your shit together and get sorted.
Yep.
But she can hear something. Angela's distracted because she can hear something in the closet or the cupboard.
Yeah, the door is like rattling, isn't it?
Yeah, and her name, she can hear her name being said over and over again. Then she gets a nosebleed.
Something walks into the room.
Did it?
Yes, but you don't see it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay. Well, there you go. Now he's laughing.
Me. But I thought that there's a few scenes in this that are unnecessary. That's never a college course or anything like that's never referenced again.
No.
It's just a throwaway scene that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
She heads to see her grandpa after that. Grandpa's played by James Cosmo, who is another one of these stupidly famous people who you'll know from everything.
Now, I'm not saying this movie took shortcuts and was a bit lazy, but he is an old drunk Scottish guy who just drinks whiskey.
Yes, which I think he probably is. Judging by his facial features, he's enjoyed a few drinks.
He is a bit ruddy.
He is. Nothing really comes of this conversation either, other than to introduce him into the film.
And to confirm that Angela's mother, this guy's daughter, was committed.
Yeah.
And he was disappointed by her, basically, in that she left the country and moved to America, set up a business, and none of this is really relevant either.
This the whole 15-minute scene. This chunk of the film is unnecessary, and the next bit is as well.
Yeah, she met someone in the States, and Angela came along 9 months later.
What? Angela's what would you say? Late teens, early 20s. Then she's just getting this story about her mum now, and it's like,
well, she's university, isn't she? So she's going to be 18 to 21, 22.
So it was just a. The grandpa was Captain Exposition, as you like
Yeah.
to say in the past. There is a throwaway line at the end where the grandpa says, "Tell my useless grandson he owes me 500 quid."
Yes.
So we know that Jackson's having money issues from that, and then we find out more that Jackson's having money issues because he gets attacked by 2 cookie cutter gangsters.
Yeah.
That completely
It's like one of them was fucking Elman from last week's
it
movie.
really was. He gets beat up. That's the end of it. There's no reason for him to be beat up.
Totally irrelevant to the rest of the film.
Completely irrelevant.
Why did this character need to have money troubles?
Don't know. Just because he wanted to keep doing it, but he could have just wanted to keep doing it because he enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
Didn't need money. We already knew that he owed his granddad 500, so just go with that. That whole scene from the college to that bit there, pointless.
Yeah.
20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, pointless. But after that, they get home and they're at home, and then the phone rings again.
Oh, no, you missed a bit.
Have I?
Yeah, so it's only a really brief bit, and I didn't quite put it together till afterwards, but you cut to Angela, and she's in a library, and she's looking at the old, microfilm tape.
Okay.
So, sitting at a desk looking at old newspaper articles.
Yeah.
And she's reading about a serial killing at a foster home.
Right.
So, excuse me?
I have no memory of that scene at all. I'll be honest with you.
That's very interesting.
It's just, I wasn't abusing you for missing Glasgow 1986. I'm just saying.
So
okay, I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, so
maybe I was writing.
Yeah. So there's just a couple of headlines, and she's serial killer strikes at foster home.
Okay.
And initially I thought, it's something to do with her mum, but then I only put together in the next scene that
it was to do
she
with the
was
phone call
reading
that
up
she'd
about
taken
the phone
earlier.
call that she'd had. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes a bit more sense. I presume after that, then we get home.
Yes.
And the phone
Correct.
rings again, but this time Jackson answers, and he's like, "No, of course we're available. What are you talking about? You can't hear the other end of the conversation again." His face is all messed up. He's obviously been beaten up. Jackson tells Angela he wants to take the job. Angela doesn't want to take the job. It's too big. It's way out of their ballpark. But Jackson he's almost begging her, isn't he? He's like,
he's a total asshole.
yeah, he's a dick.
So
all the way through.
And I don't think he was very good at it. It was not a great performance by this guy.
agreed.
I thought he was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe anything he was trying to do or say or act. He sort of corners Angela and says, he basically tries to push his own mum issues onto her.
Yeah.
And say, you're just like her, you're a failure. She scratched her own eyes out, and you're going to end up like her. Absolute cunt.
Yeah. Wow. And basically he's like, "Look, I need the money as well. And he says they've seen ends with him, like, they're going to kill me, whoever they are." Angela goes off into her room and screams into a pillow at that point. We cut to Beth, who is Jackson's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or at least the girl that he is sleeping with at the time. And she's going. She's like, "No, I'm done with this. I'm out of here." Don't know why. It's pretty much the first time she's been in the film.
It's because she's scared of the gangsters.
Oh, okay. So she's scared of the people who have beat up Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. But she's going to leave, but she doesn't leave. Cut to that night. She's actually in bed in the very next scene with Jackson.
Yeah, because he smarms her.
Must have, yeah. Cut to middle of the night. Angela gets waken up by somebody calling her name.
Yep.
Again, she checks around. She calls out to see if it was Beth because it's a lady's voice. It wasn't because Beth's asleep with her brother. So she heads downstairs to see what's going on. And her mum's down there. Or this lady that we seen earlier in the photos.
Yep.
She got no eyes though.
No, she dead.
She's been to the
She a ghost.
Dyatlov Pass or whatever. Angela obviously wakes up because she's seen her mum with no eyes.
So that is essentially our setup. We have
Yeah.
now got this group of scammers. Angela, who allegedly had this gift but didn't really. Well, actually, she now has.
Yeah.
She is seeing ghosts everywhere.
Yeah. So the next morning she wakes up, she tells Jackson that she's in. She's like, "Let's do it.
One last job.
One less job." And we get a bit of a driving montage as
Road
they
trip.
drive over to this house. They all get out of the car. Angela's instantly like, "Oh, look, that building there is where the bodies were found."
Yeah.
We never see this building. It's from their perspective. And they go and meet Mrs. Green. So Celia Imrie turns up in this film for the first time. And they head inside.
Yes.
They all sit down, have a bit of a chat with this lady to see what she wants. Jackson wants to be paid up front. But she's like...
Again, he's a total prick.
Yeah, he's horrible to her.
She's yes. Give me the money now.
Yeah.
And she calls him out.
Yeah, he tries to think... He's tried to exploit her as a little old lady,
Yeah.
don't he? But she's not having it. And she's like, no, you will get paid after you have completed your tasks.
I thought this was probably one of the best bits of the movie. So this first couple of scenes that Celia Imrie is in, I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah, agreed.
So she is setting the scene really well. She's got just the right sort of creep factor, and she tells the team that she hears screaming at night every night, and that she just wants a quiet house.
Yeah.
And she's classed it up in a couple of scenes so far.
Yeah, definitely.
The movie.
Yeah.
I'm not disliking it so far. It's got issues.
Yeah, it's not great.
But it's starting...
took too long to get going.
Yeah, but I think it's starting
to get there.
At this point, I'm thinking, oh, no, we're laying a decent foundation now. We're in a haunted house.
Yeah.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where the scares start.
Yeah.
We find out it's been 15 years, and we also find out that her son had killed a load of girls that were staying in the house.
Yeah, so it was a foster home.
Yeah, it was a foster home.
Because she read the newspaper articles earlier.
Yes. Angela asks to see if she can get any photos of the girls, because she's like, I need to get their images into my head so I can communicate with them. Jackson's walking around again with his self-help tape on his headphones. The four guys get together away from Mrs. Green and have a bit of a meeting to plan the deception, I guess. And while they're talking, Angela sees a girl, like just walks past her.
Yeah.
Nobody else notices it, but she suddenly gets a nosebleed.
Yeah.
She's like, it seems to be a thing. It's like when she gets a nosebleed, she's just seen a ghost, or when she sees a ghost, she gets a nosebleed.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. So she goes off to the bathroom to clean up. It seems to be like almost a public bathroom. It's not just like a house bathroom. There's loads of toilets in there.
What? Because it
used to be like a school.
Yeah, and later on we see a classroom, so there's obviously some kind of educational thing there. And then you get a sort of couple of jump scares where Elliot turns up.
Yeah, Elliot makes a jump, and he basically goes in to make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
Because he's got a bit of a crush on her.
He has, yeah.
Suddenly she sees another girl, and she panics, and she drags Elliot into one of the toilet cubicles.
Yes.
And they kind of hide in there. He doesn't really know what's going on.
No, he can't see anything.
What the fuck are we hiding from? And then there's one in there with them.
Yeah.
A girl in there with them. And that causes Angela to pass out.
So this is pretty standard, shining, creepy little girl, isn't it? Little school dress. Although she has her mouth stitched closed.
Yeah.
Which is pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
And Angela passes out.
Angela passes out, yeah. She wakes up in the bathroom. They're all quite crowded around her. Elliot's like, let's call this. We can't do this. Angela's obviously not well. Something's going on. But Jackson's a dick, as we've already established.
He does not give a fuck.
He could not care less.
Get up.
Let's get on with it. It's basically exactly what he says to her. So Mrs. Green, they go back to see Mrs. Green. She kind of wants to know what's going to happen. She wants some explanation of what they're going to do.
They're about to repeat the trick we saw at the start
of
the movie. So they've set up these monitors. Beth and Jackson are sitting there with Mrs. Green, and Angela and Elliot are on their way to explore the house, and they're going to pull the same trick that they did earlier on.
But Mrs. Green isn't having that. She calls Jackson out straight away. She's like,
she sees through his
stop your showmanship. Yeah. That's what she says. So just tell me really what's going to happen.
Because not only is it bad acting in this role, but he's a bad acting badly.
Yeah,
because he's so fake.
Yeah, he's clearly fake.
Trying to smarm the customer.
He's a charlatan. Yeah. So we cut back to Angela and Elliot, who are now alone because he's the cameraman following her around. And he kind of figures out, he's like, you saw something, didn't you? Straight away.
Yeah.
And he's like, he says to her, I only do this to hang out with you.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of this. I'm just a film student. But I just do it to be with you. And they have a bit of a moment. And then they begin. Jackson cuts back to Mrs. Green, and he's explaining that Angela will contact the girls one by one. She can only talk to one at a time.
Yeah, and again, he's talking about we're going to cleanse the property.
Yeah, we'll ask them to leave one by one. Yeah. That's basically what's going to happen. So Angela introduces herself to the house, I guess. She's telling them who she is and just talking into empty rooms, basically. But then she walks into almost like a bedroom.
Yes.
Like a dormitory room, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And there's some music playing. She can hear it. Elliot can't hear it.
Yeah, it's an old sort of scratchy...
record.
Kids song almost.
Yeah. Elliot can't hear it, so she's like, can you hear that? What's going on? This is weird. She walks out of the room, and it's getting louder.
There's a creepy doll on one of the beds.
Yeah. And she turns to Elliot and she says, something's here. And the music's still getting louder and louder and louder. And then a girl appears at the end of the corridor.
Yes.
And she's kind of just looking at them both, I guess.
Yeah.
She's got her eyes. She's got her lips sewn shut. And this is Tammy.
Yeah, and we sort of shift our viewpoint. So sometimes we're seeing it from Angela's point of view, so we can see what she is seeing. So we see the ghost girls. Then we will cut back occasionally to like the feed from Elliot's camera, and we can't see anything because we're seeing it from his viewpoint. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, interesting. There's a failed scare there. There should have been a scare there, I guess. It's the first real time that we see one.
Yeah.
But it just, it's coming because of this music that's playing. They follow this girl and they kind of go into a part of the house that Mrs. Green doesn't want them to go to.
Yeah, it's mentioned
like, they're heading to the east wing.
Yeah, it's mentioned in a sort of offhanded line a bit earlier on where she says, "Oh yeah, we can't go in the east wing because it's basically derelict. It's waiting for repairs." Which
is handy because that's exactly what happens now. We're walking through.
That's exactly where they've got to go.
Suddenly, Elliot falls through the floor.
He does.
The floorboards give way. Elliot dives through the floor. He falls through the floor. The ghost disappears, and Angela checks back to make sure Elliot's okay. She's kind of shouting through the floor at him.
Hey, he's not okay.
He's not okay. He's not answering to start with. So Jackson goes off to check. Elliot's like, I need to go to hospital. Jackson just wants to leave him there. He doesn't even want to get him out.
As he's running, though, he then hears a giggling.
Yeah.
And there's a man's voice that says, "Stay there."
Yeah.
And he kind of shrugs it off.
Yeah.
Does a bit of a spit take and then just carries on and gets to his sister and Elliot.
Yeah, but Jackson just wants to leave Elliot down there.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck him. We'll just carry on without him.
We need to carry on, finish
this job, and then we'll sort him out.
And we'll get him at the end.
Angela's like, no, fuck, don't be ridiculous. Let's get him out. So they get a ladder and they go down to him. So he's in like, is it a basement?
Yeah, basically.
So, but I didn't feel like they were downstairs to start with.
No.
So, and he's fallen through the floor into a basement.
Yeah, but there's no door in there because they don't go out of a door from there. They have to go up and down the ladder.
Room, isn't it? Yeah. It's like a hidden room under the between floors. I don't know.
As they're waiting to get
the layout,
as they're waiting to get the ladder, there's a really random bit where because Elliot's fallen down and obviously because this is the 80s, he's got this huge camcorder and it's on a wire.
Yeah,
he sits up and twats his head on it.
I did see that,
and it's like Home Alone.
Did just hit his head on this dangling camera.
It was just random. I was like, that doesn't fit in with what I've seen so far. Eventually, they make their way down to him.
Yeah, they
get
go
a ladder.
down to him.
They get a rope.
And this is like a hidden secret room.
Yep.
They quickly figure out this is where the girls were kept when they were being abused, I guess. And the word "help" is written on the wall, or scratched into the wall. And this is where Angela finally confides in Jackson that she's been seeing things.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe her straight away, and they decide to carry on. They get Elliot back up the ladder. He's proper whining at this point. We think he might have broke his ankle. We're not sure.
There's definitely a bit of a mess.
Some sort of issue with his foot. They're getting back up the ladder though. Jackson wants to carry on. Angela tells him to fuck off.
Yeah, she says, I'm done.
We're getting out of it.
No more scams.
But then Jackson goes back to Mrs. Green and tells her they will continue to cleanse this house. And you get the impression at this point that Mrs. Green knows that this isn't real anymore.
Oh, she says, you failed.
Yeah.
I thought you were for real and you're not.
You're a scam artist.
You're all a fake.
Yeah, so she kicks him out. She's like, I want you to leave.
So he says, yeah, I'll take the decision out of your hands.
Yeah.
Get off my property.
Yeah. She also says to him that the girls were to blame, not her son.
Yeah, so I want to highlight this line because I didn't mind this movie up to this point. I thought, okay, it's set, like I said, it's set up this creepiness. These people are obviously in danger from these ghosts in this house. And then this line came out where Mrs. Green says, you almost see her character change.
Yeah.
In which in one way is good acting because her face changes, and then she just says, "Oh, my boy, he wasn't at fault. He was a sweet guy. It's those girls who were to blame."
Yeah.
And I've literally written, the shark just got jumped.
Big style.
Because I now knew I was not going to like what happened next. Because it felt like we'd just turned.
You knew
180.
You've seen horror films before. You know exactly what's coming now.
And I think, and I was like, this isn't going to be a ghost story anymore, is it?
No. And it wasn't.
No.
Jackson now decides he's done. He's like, right, this is weird now. I'm getting out of here. This creepy old lady scared me. And then he sees one of the girls, which is probably the scariest bit in the film because he kind of turns around and the camera backs away and it's like there.
Yeah.
Like in his face, right up to him. And he freaks out. He kind of falls backwards. He's screaming out for Beth.
He gets on. He gets the radio and says, "Beth,
Yeah,
right,
we're going.
pack up, we're going."
But she's not answering. She's gone missing. We don't know where she is. We haven't seen her for ages. I can't even remember the last time we saw her. They're trying to get Elliot out of the house. Angela sees some blood on the floor.
Yeah.
And Beth's necklace is in this pile of blood.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
Jackson makes it back to like the control room type thing they'd set up with
Yeah.
the monitors. That's all been trashed. There's blood all over that. That's a deposit gone from the uni. And
this is the point where he sees his mum. There's like is he in a lift or something? And the lights keep going on and off.
oh no, that's a bit later. Yeah, this is yeah. So yeah, it's just after that. Sorry, yeah. So he does all that. Like you say, no one can get an answer from Beth. So Jackson starts following the girl.
Yeah.
And he gets back to Angela and tells her to take Elliot back to the car.
Yeah.
And he'll get Beth and come and find them. Then he follows. Yeah, gets into like this ye old lift.
Yeah.
Following this ghost.
Yeah. And he sees his mother.
Yeah.
Because the lights are flickering on and off in this list, and every time they come on, she's there.
Yes.
He eventually ends up in an attic. I presume it's an attic. It's upstairs because he has to go up a hatch on a ladder.
Yeah, that's stupid because like in my mind I'm like, oh, he's going down in this lift. Of course he's going up. He ends up in an attic.
He ends up in an attic.
Not bad.
No comment. And he finds Beth, and she's sitting there. She's on a chair. But her lips are sewn shut, which is weird. So he kind of grabs her and saves her, I guess.
Yeah.
Elliot's, in the meantime, has passed out. Angela manages to get him out to the car. They're outside now.
Yeah, it's broad daylight.
Yeah. And they get in the car, and then suddenly Jackson comes out with Beth. They all get in the car, and they all drive off.
Yes. Fast.
Fast.
Way too fast.
Way too fast. You know something's going to go wrong. This isn't the end of the film, so something's going to go wrong. Jackson's driving. He sees a girl in the road.
Yes.
So instead of stopping,
He puts his foot down
because he's like, I'm going to kill this ghost. That's what I'm going to do.
Best way to kill a ghost, run over it.
Yeah. And so they hit this girl, and the girl gets flown up in the air, and when it lands, it's the gardener that we met earlier.
This makes no sense. Ghosts do not work like that.
No. Was it or not in his brain? Was he just imagining that there was the girl and he could see the gardener? And I don't know. That's how I explained it to myself.
Fine. But there were definitely ghosts.
Yeah, there were definitely ghosts.
So why would that not be a ghost? Just because you wanted to hit the
Because we
gardener?
wanted to kill the gardener that had only been in it once.
Ridiculous.
So they hit the gardener, they lose control of the car, and they crash the car.
Yeah. We look round. Let's count who's in the car.
Yeah. Jackson's there.
Yeah.
1.
Angela's there.
2.
You know, she's passed out, but she's there.
Elliot's there.
He's moaning still.
Yeah. 3.
And then
There's only 3 people in the car, Nick.
Yeah, he looks to his left. There's a big hole in the windscreen.
Shit.
Where's Beth?
Didn't put fucking Beth's seatbelt on, did he? Beth went flying through the windscreen, which we didn't see.
No.
We didn't. Yeah, I didn't even realise until she was like, "What's that lying out there?" Jackson goes running over to her. He tries to see if she's okay.
She's not
Doesn't look like she is okay.
She's got a massive slice in her forehead.
Yeah. But suddenly he gets whacked around the back of the head with a spade.
Yeah.
From some random dude turns up. This dude, we stay with this dude for a little while. He goes back to the car, grabs Elliot out of the car.
Yeah, drags him out.
Whacks him with a spade too. Knocks him out also. Not long after that, Beth wakes up. There's quite a nice scene where she's passed out.
Not Beth, Angela.
Angela. Sorry, I've written Beth, but I do mean Angela. There's quite a nice thing because she's passed out with her head like rested on the front seat of the car.
Yeah.
But the camera's underneath her filming up their actual camera.
Yes.
And I thought that looked quite nice. You can see her wake up from that position. She wakes up. She wakes Elliot up, who isn't dead, and he tells her that the dude, whoever he is, took Jackson.
Yeah, it says he took him.
He took him. We don't know who this guy is.
Oh, she also finds a creepy doll again.
Yeah, again. That's just there.
So were they ghosts or were they real?
But the dolls?
Yeah.
I think they were just dolls.
Okay.
So Beth makes her way back to the house. She's like, obviously Jackson's been taken back to the house. Some shit's going down.
I kind of like that shot as it pulled back from her as she was walking
Yeah, she was kind of
back to
stumbling
the
away.
house, and it's like, okay, she's gonna go and you know,
Yeah.
kick some ass.
Yeah.
I just thought it was quite a good shot
It
in
was
the
a good
forest, and it was a bright spot in a really weird last half an hour of this movie.
Yeah, it is a bit weird, this. Cut to Jackson. He's in the house, but he's tied to a chair. And Mrs. Green's with him. Who knew that she was going to go bad? And that creepy song from earlier is playing again.
Yep.
And what does she do to him, Nick?
Well, she's not alone. She is with the man in black.
Yep.
Who, quite obviously, if you've not worked it out by now, is her son.
Was he dressed as a German?
It
It sounds wrong to say, but he looked like he got Nazi costume.
weirdly enough, I thought, considering Ross Cook drew this the other day, I thought he looked like Willard from that film, played by Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a long black trench coat on.
He was. Was he
and a
named
suit.
Herman?
Herman.
So he could have been Herman the German.
He could have. I mean, he's supposed to be Scottish, remember? But,
yeah. Much love to our German listeners. What did she do to Jackson? Or what did they do to Jackson?
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
Cut his tongue off.
Yeah, okay, no, I got that bit.
So this is the second Dialetov pass incident from the Greek burrito episode. I actually, as soon as I saw that bit, I text Jordan from the Greek burrito and I was like, some dude's just had his tongue chopped off in this film. He's like, you fucking joking. And then she hammers something into his skull.
Yeah, so this was the bit that confused me. So they get like a steak.
Yeah. Not a piece of meat.
like a yeah.
Almost like a chisel. That sort of size piece of equipment, wasn't it?
And kind of, I thought it went into his head. I was like, oh, they've killed him. But then later on, it looked like it was in his jaw.
Yeah.
So it like went through his jawbone.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they did it, because it never happened again.
And it didn't seem to affect him that much.
No. And
I
his
thought
face
they were like,
wasn't mashed up.
I thought they were like lobotomizing him and he was going to be all like...
Yeah, but that's what I thought of.
He's going to be all like distant from now on.
But in later scenes, there was definitely a patch in like the ball of his jaw.
Maybe she just wanted to break his jaw.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
She didn't like noise, did she?
No.
So maybe, because that's why their lips were all tight.
Correct.
Sewed shut. So maybe it was something to do with that. She says to Herman, go and get the other one. So Elliot makes his way there, doesn't he? He's woken up and he's following Angela back to the house.
Yeah, he started crawling.
Yeah.
And he manages to find a sort of crutch, which the gardener had. And yeah, Mrs. Green,
Mrs. G is what you call my mum.
She starts stitching Jackson's mouth shut.
Yeah. Then Herman manages to get hold of Angela because she's made it back to the house first.
Yes.
Chokes her out, knocks her out, and takes her back to Mrs. Green, where she wakes up now tied to a chair.
Yep, next to her brother.
Sitting next to Jackson. She apologises to Jackson for getting him into this mess. Mrs. Green tells Herman to take Jackson to the shed and to bring Elliot.
Yeah, go and get the other boy.
Yes.
They are not alone in the room, though, because this time the three girls are there.
Yeah.
And they are watching over this whole
Yeah, they're just standing
shambles.
in the corner, aren't they? Just watching.
Yeah.
Elliot makes his way to the house. He actually gets to the room that they're all in somehow.
Yeah, Jackson's gone.
Yeah.
And it looks like, because we only see it from behind, that Angela is started to be stitched up.
Yeah. Elliot and Herman have a bit of a kerfuffle, bit of a rumble, and it ends with Herman being stabbed in the throat by Elliot. Mrs. Green freaks out. Elliot goes to untie Angela. Mrs. Green attacks Elliot. She gets the better of him. She keeps attacking him with it's like a saw.
It's a saw, yeah.
It's
a hand saw.
Yeah, and she's just whacking him with it. And she eventually grabs him and she's trying to chop his head off.
There's lots of squelchy sound effects.
Yeah, and she's trying to basically chop his head off with a saw. And then suddenly the three girls that are ghosts that are standing in the corner start screaming.
Yeah.
Like full bore, high pitched, scary screaming, horror movie screaming. And Mrs. Green can't take that. She doesn't like noise. So she kind of collapses to the floor with her hands over her ears.
And then this got an totally unintentional laugh out of me because Angela just unties herself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, right. So you've just...
You're fine then, are you?
You didn't want to do that before. You just thought, oh, no, I'll let her stitch my mouth.
Waiting for the right moment. She manages to get free. Angela manages to get free and stabs Mrs. Green in the neck.
Yeah.
Where she dies from being stabbed in the neck.
That'll do it, yeah.
She's died. She's on the floor dead. And the girls notice this and they just fade away.
Yeah.
Out of existence.
They are happy. The revenge has been taken, I presume.
Angela walks away.
She says to Elliot, I'm going to go and get help.
Yeah. So
now, I just want to point out that on the road trip montage on the way to this house, they drove for ages.
Yes, they did.
They were in the middle of fucking nowhere.
This is Scotland. Everything's in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is an isolated property.
Yeah. She walks away alone She doesn't have a car, so she hasn't got any choice.
Yep, she's limping.
She notices her brother walking in front of her, Jackson. But he's all nice and clean and tidy and all right.
Not sewn up.
Unfortunately, though, he is dead.
He is a ghost.
This is the ghost of Jackson that she's seeing. He's looking for Beth.
He is doomed to wander the grounds.
Looking for Beth forever. Did Beth die from her getting thrown through the windscreen?
Oh, well, I presume so.
Yeah. It never really said, did it? Angela breaks down. She starts crying. And
a car turns up.
A car turns up. A car. Pass on who it was.
It's just some passers-by.
Yeah. Cut to a hospital.
She's literally been walking for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, there was no attempt to go...
You could see the house.
Yeah, there was no attempt to be like, oh, time has passed. You know, she's wandered for a day or whatever.
No. You can still see the house behind her. She barely got to the bottom of the drive. And
some people stop and
sort her out.
Yeah, rescue her.
We cut to a hospital, basically. She's in a gown. The nurse comes up to her and says, you can go and see Elliot now if you want.
Yep.
So Elliot's all right. He's survived. She goes and sits with him for a bit, holds his hand. She gives her granddad a ring.
Yeah, he's drunkenly ranting down the phone. It's a curse. You're cursed. Your mother was cursed.
Yeah. And I think his last line is, you will live out your life alone if you keep up like this.
Yeah.
And then as he says that, a shadow descends over Angela.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm not alone. And then the film ends.
Yeah.
First question, who was that at the end?
I'm going to go with her mother.
Okay. Not the ghost of Jackson.
No.
No?
No, I want him to be stuck near that creepy house.
Thoughts?
For the first 55 minutes, I was fine with it. It wasn't pulling up any trees.
No.
But I thought, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to be pretty predictable, but it's quite well done. It's made me jump a couple of times. I think Florence Pugh was pretty good, and I was fine to see it out as a ghost story. You know, a couple of people will get knocked off, a couple of people will survive.
Couldn't agree more.
And then by the time I had finished watching this, half an hour after that, I loathed it.
Couldn't agree more. This film absolutely shit the bed in the last 45 minutes.
It turns into like a posh version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It does.
With a bit of Psycho thrown in.
Yeah, and there are 3 ghosts, and which are unnecessary.
I'm sitting there watching this woman like attack this kid with a saw, squelching, blood flying everywhere. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't I'm not.
Didn't see that coming.
I didn't expect this to turn into like a sort of horror porn film, and that's what the last half an hour is. And I wasn't surprised in a good way. I really, really disliked it.
Yeah, I did as well.
It was nasty. The last half hour was nasty.
It was, and it was shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't even good. It wasn't. You can't even say, oh, okay, it wasn't the ghost story I wanted, but it ended up being a decent slasher film.
I don't understand the need. We've seen this quite a few times with these bottom of the stream films. I don't necessarily even need one twist.
No.
Let alone the 6 twists in the last half an hour of this. Oh, her son's alive. Oh, actually, she's a psychopath.
Was he alive or was he a ghost?
I presume he was alive because he actually got stabbed.
Yeah, true.
You know. So he killed all these girls and then what? He was hidden?
Surely it would have been better if he was a ghost.
Yeah.
That would have been even made more sense.
I have another question as well.
Okay.
Why did she call them?
Exactly. That was exactly my question.
So
why did this thing happen in the first place?
Why did she call them to the house, the investigator team? Was it because she genuinely did hear the screaming?
Did she genuinely want rid of the girls, and when she realised it was all a hoax,
she flipped?
Just to lose her shit?
Or was she just trying to entice some more victims? It was
do
garbage.
You know what? I couldn't care less.
Yeah, absolute garbage.
It's awful.
I'm really surprised because I thought you were going to tell me you really liked it. I'm sorry, I've judged you.
If this had been a ghost story all the way through, then fair. I texted you about half an hour into me watching it. I was like, I don't like ghost films because it was genuinely interesting and a bit
like
tense.
Not perfect.
There are no, not at all. There are tense scenes in it. Where there are a few jump scenes in it when it is a ghost story, and I don't like ghost films. I love horror films. I'm not a fan of ghost films because I live on my own. And I thought, shit, this is gonna be a struggle, but it really was. It's not scary. There's not a single scary scene in it.
That mannequin made me jump at the start.
Okay, there's a jump scene in it.
Yeah,
there's maybe two jump scenes in it. The scene when Jackson comes face to face with a girl made me jump a little bit.
But it's not ominous when they're walking around the old house. You know, again, they missed a total trick with... They could have done more with the house itself.
Yeah.
The house isn't creepy enough. Celia Imrie's good for the first couple of scenes she's in, and then she goes off a cliff.
Yeah.
It's whether they rewrote the script.
It's full of horror movie cliches as well. From the beginning.
The character of Jackson is atrocious.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely
it's
atrocious.
Really there's like 15 minutes at the beginning that are unnecessary. Why did she need to be at college? Why did he need to get beat up? Why did the grandpa even need to be in it other than to tell us who the mother was? It's poor. It's one of the worst films we've seen.
I think overall, you know, it's not shit as in cheap and, you know, it's not a Deadly Detention from last season, which was cheap and, you know, real sort of, the budget was on the back of a postage stamp sort of thing. But it is, from what it was in the first, like I say, 55 minutes to what the last half an hour was. Yeah, it's one of the most disappointing things we've seen.
Yeah,
but after I'd watched that last half an hour, I was like, I'm not enjoying this. This is just nasty.
Yeah.
You know, there is no reason for this to be happening. It's not earned it from the setup. I was like, yeah, this is just gore for gore's sake. I don't care about any of these people. I don't care about this woman who's doing this. Yeah.
The guy who plays Elliot reminded me far too much of Simon from The In-Betweeners. Not Simon. Is it Simon? Yeah, the character Simon from The In-Betweeners. He looked like him, and he was whiny like him. And I couldn't get that out of my head either. And I'm like, it was so bad. It's so bad. There's nothing redeeming about it at all. Nothing.
I also want to know, in my long list of questions, not that I care, how did they have time to capture Beth and sew her mouth up?
Yeah. And take her up to an attic. It's a good point. Again, don't care.
Yeah, just shit.
Don't care. She was another unnecessary character.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything.
No, not at all. Steer clear of this one.
Yeah, stay clear of this one. I can see this being right down the bottom towards the end of this season already. Stream table. Quick question, this stream table at this point in the season. Is this film better or worse than last week's film?
It's worse than iBoy.
It is worse than iBoy. So iBoy's at number 1, Malevolent currently at number 2. That I imagine will be the highest point it ever gets in this.
I'm sure.
In this
I'm sure it will be.
New feature. Ross gave us an idea for a name for a new feature, but I didn't like it. So
okay, fine.
Sorry, Ross. Basically, the new feature is how would you improve this film? One change. You've got one change. You can do whatever you want, but you can only make one change. What do you do?
Is burning it one change?
Don't make it. No, that doesn't count. You've got to do something to try and make it better.
So I can't just say, I'm still getting my head around this feature. Like, wipe out the last half an hour and just make a ghost film.
No. You have to... The film exists as it is. You just have to change something to make it better.
I'm not sure what I would do.
No, I don't. I think it's almost unretrievable.
Not one... No, I can't think of a little change that would improve this.
So what?
By such a big degree.
So go for a big change. So would you cut off the last half an hour and give it a different ending? That's a change.
Just give me a ghost story.
Yeah.
That you set up for the first 55 minutes. And just give me the last 20 minutes of these guys investigating this house.
Yeah.
And we can just have a ghost story, ramp it up on jump scares, and a couple of them get out or don't get out, whatever. I don't even care if anyone survives or not.
No.
Just give me... There's nothing wrong with being predictable sometimes.
No. Every film has to do it, doesn't it? It's just crazy.
Just finish off the film you started.
Yeah.
And this would have been fine.
Yeah.
Not great, but it would have been fine.
You're never going to get a great film, no matter what you do to change this.
No.
You're never getting a great film out of it. I think I would lose all the cliches. There's so many. There's the mannequins, we know is a horror film cliche. Haunted house, creepy woman. Girl ghosts is a cliche now because you never get a film with boy ghosts.
No.
You don't. There's never creepy boys.
They were just carbon copy of the twins from The Shining.
Even people's mouths being sewn up is becoming a horror movie cliche. There's so many cliches in it that it just is not scary because of it. And all you have to do is just not do them. It's simple.
Yeah.
And just so many films just do it. Make a film with creepy boy ghosts and it will be different because nobody does that. Right, I think we've talked about that film enough, don't you?
Yeah, it's real garbage.
Relegated to the bottom of the barrel, bottom of the stream, where it belongs. Do you want to pick next week's film?
Yes, please. Please.
Hopefully we'll get something better.
Let's move on.
What are you hoping for next week? Nobody's played the wildcard, by the way. I sent the wildcards out expecting somebody to play them straight away, but nobody did. So that implies to me that people are taking it seriously this season. So what do you want from...
Let's just go balls to the wall action.
We haven't done a good action film for ages.
No.
What was the last action film we did?
I want to say it's probably that Antonio Banderas
Acts
one.
of Vengeance.
Yeah.
Something like that. Any good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to press the button. Are you ready?
Go for it.
It's picked a film called Results.
Okay.
Any ideas what we're getting from Results?
I mean, I'm guessing it's not a topical comment on sort of the issues we had with exams in this country and many other countries.
It is not. No.
Schools being closed. Is it a medical thriller? Someone gets the wrong test results.
That's a good idea, but no.
Okay.
It's a comedy romance.
Oh, okay.
It's a rom-com.
Oh, lovely.
I've done a rom-com in ages.
Love me a rom-com.
It says, 2 mismatched personal trainers' lives are upended by the actions of a new wealthy client.
Oh, hello. Thinking of it as like in Globo Gym. It's like dodgeball.
It's from 2015. It's got a bit of an all-star cast.
Okay. Are you relatively speaking?
I'll see what you think. It's got Guy Pearce in it.
Oh, I quite like him.
It's got Kobe Smulders in it.
Oh, I quite like her.
It's got Giovanni Ribisi.
Oh, he's okay.
Again, he's been on our stream before.
Very briefly.
Very briefly. So yeah, it's also got Kevin Corrigan, whose face I recognise, but I don't know why.
Is it Mark's brother?
So yeah, what do you think?
I'm up for
Excited?
a rom-com.
Up for a rom-com?
A gym set rom-com.
So yeah, go out there and watch Results. And in the meantime, check us out on Twitter and Instagram at BOTS_podcast. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/bottom of the stream. Our brand new website has launched, Nick.
Oh, yes.
It should be out there now to the world.
It looks smooth.
It does. I really like it. I still need to do a little bit of work on it. You will notice there are a few things that are not there yet. But yeah, check it out. Let us know what you think, because it took me a long time and I'd like some feedback on it. So check out www.bottomofthestream.com. On that page, at the top of the menu bar, there's a merch button.
Oh, yes.
So we have also, along with the website, released our new merch store where you can get all sorts of crazy bottom of the stream shit, including a shower curtain if you wanted one. So
I can't have that. My shower doesn't allow for a curtain.
Nor does mine. But there's all sorts of crazy stuff on there. So check it out. It would really help us out if you did buy anything. Obviously, don't feel pressured to do so. And also check us out on Patreon, which is patreon.com/bottom of the stream, where for a few quid every month you will get early access to episodes, bonus episodes, the newsletter that we mentioned earlier that Nick writes every month. We give you a wild card if you come in at a certain level, so you can get involved in this competition that seems to have started. And yeah, we've even got Discord now, so there's a Discord server where we'll just chat to you all day if you want.
Yeah, if you want to join that, let us know. We can be found on there. And if you can't do any of that, then please leave us a review on Podchaser.
Yep.
On Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
Podbean.
Yep.
Anywhere you can find to review podcasts, because it really helps the algorithms and it puts our thumbnail in front of people's eyes.
There was one more thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention last week, is that the podcast is now available on Amazon Music, which means you can say, Alexa, play bottom of the stream, and Alexa will play bottom of the stream. So do that.
Awesome.
Also. So yeah, go and check out Results, and we'll come back next week to talk to you about it.
Cheers.
Bye.